Yeah, I'll start with like the average class goer because we got a lot of people who are either coming in the morning where it would be like ideal time for them to eat essentially, or evening time, which would be like, again, the ideal time to eat dinner. So it's either like normally very close to around breakfast time, where if people don't eat anything, they often feel underfueled when they're actually doing their workouts or hungry, which isn't, neither of those are ideal, obviously. Or on the flip side, they eat too much and then they're feeling full, which again is never fun when you're in the middle of a workout, especially if it's something that's pretty intense. So again, I think if people are waking up, they deal with that, or if they're coming out of the workday, they often deal with like the same thing. If it's like, again, either pretty much right after they get up, they come here and do their workout, or they're coming right after work. How often? Well, let's start here. Like, how often do you think like that's a problem for people?
It's probably one of the most commonly asked questions that I get, especially the people in the morning. For whatever reason, it bothers a lot of people. Well, some people to even eat first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Which I can't wrap my head around. Like I wake up
just not hungry when they
yeah,
wake
they're
up.
just not hungry.
Yeah.
Like it's not a matter of not wanting to eat. They just don't have the desire to eat. So I think I get asked all the time, I guess about both times really, people that come in the morning and at night, but they just don't really know how to time it. If you come at 9 a.m., you should be able to eat something by 7:30.
Unless you're waking up at
Unless you're waking up at
8:30.
8:15 to come to class,
Yeah.
then there's a problem. But like the people that come at 5:30 a.m., they're the ones that are kind of like, okay, I sleep in my gym clothes, and I roll out of bed, and I come in.
Basically waking up last
Yeah.
minute so that they can sleep as long as they
Yeah, I
possibly
mean,
can.
you don't have a huge
Yeah.
window from waking up at 4:45 to starting class at 5:30. So I think that's probably one of the more challenging times. But I still feel like, just getting something in, even if it's just, a piece of toast on the way in the car, or even just setting your alarm for 10 minutes earlier is not really that much of a big deal.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess maybe what I'm kind of hearing from this is maybe like you could either eat the majority of like pretty close to like a normal meal before, if you're someone who tolerates that, and then maybe you have a snack afterwards that's more of like a post-workout snack before you like, ship off to work or whatever. Or you could flip-flop that if you're someone who's got more sensitive stomach, where you have like, a banana granola bar, something simple in the morning where it's smaller and pretty easily digestible. It's not going to like sit in your gut.
Right.
And then afterwards, you could probably hopefully have like a more like formal breakfast. With,
Yeah,
like, a
and
lot
that's
more
when they sit
substance.
down and have like their oats with protein, banana, fruit. People go home and make omelets with a slice of toast. That's when they get like the big meal in for after.
So if someone's waking up first thing and there's someone who doesn't tolerate food super well right away, what are some good options of like go-tos that you'd recommend to people for like, again, this isn't like your whole breakfast. This is just like a snack before you come in to get your workout in. What would be good options for people?
I tell people just to keep it simple. A small piece of fruit, like I said, a slice of toast. It's not a huge amount of food. It's maybe 100 calories. So it's not going to fill them up. It's not going to give them any sort of discomfort. And it should still give them enough fuel to get the workout going, too. I mean, it's just something small. It doesn't have to be anything. I mean, even a small granola bar would be okay,
Yeah.
I think.
Toast is probably going for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the person who maybe is coming in after work. Again, I think for a lot of people, that maybe they just don't plan it out well enough, or it could just be a very similar thing, and maybe it's just a matter of getting better planning.
For sure. Those people, I think, have to plan. I have this conversation with the night people, too. They're like, how soon should I eat? Like, when is the last time I should eat? I feel like you just have to plan your lunch to maybe be a little bit earlier, like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then you can have a snack around like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then you've got 2 hours before class. Like if you can leave that 2-hour window where you've got enough food in you and it's still going to fuel you, but it's not going to leave you full. I mean, you don't want to have a huge meal at 4 o'clock and then come to class.
Yeah,
Like,
or
that's
you can
terrible.
think about it this way, like, if you're doing a 5:30 class here, you're getting home. Well, you're leaving here at 6:30. You get home, and let's just say you eat pretty much right away. You're still not eating until like at least 7 p.m.
Yeah,
So-
and that's the other thing people don't love. They're like, and then I'm eating super late, and then I'm not getting to bed until 8:30, and then I have to get up again. So it's a lot of timing. I think you have to think about it a little more.
And then if you're someone who eats maybe at like noon, and you didn't eat dinner until 7 or 7:30, that's a long
It is,
time
yeah.
to go without fuel.
Yep.
So especially if you're exercising in the middle there, you're not going to probably, and you're someone who cares about like what that actually looks like, then it's like you should probably, yeah, take, I mean, even if you eat like lunch at a pretty normal time, like, 12:30 or something,
Yeah.
it's like you could still, between 2 and 3, just
Sure.
have like it doesn't even have to be that small of a snack. I mean, if you're not just trying to watch your weight that closely.
I think like a small meal.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you, again, if you're someone who, again, you're not a morning person, you're coming in to work out in the evenings, that means that you're probably, let's just say you get up at 7 and you eat at 8, you eat again at noon, that's only 4 hours. Where if you go from noon to 7, that's 7 hours.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah. So you almost have to put a small meal in there if you want to do that.
I think of everything in terms of meals. Meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4.
They're not snacks in your mind. They're
not
all just
snacks.
meals.
They're just all meals.
So, again, I'm trying to think of like Brooks talked about this more because she's been coming in for kettlebell, which is on the later side. So that starts at 6:30 for us, and it's again one of those dilemmas where people often then don't want to get home and feel like they're eating an entire meal at that point.
It's late. It's late to eat a whole meal. But
Yeah.
again, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with eating at 8 o'clock at night. But it's like for my people, I actually have a client that is doing the kettlebell class as well. She's like, if I eat really late, am I going to gain weight? No, you're not going to gain weight from eating
no.
late, but it might reflect on the scale the next day. Like it might, undigested food is still going to be there, and it messes with your sleep and a lot of other things, but that's late to eat.
Yeah. I think people like fall into those like myths all the time where it's like if I eat right before bed, I'm just gonna it's gonna go straight to my hips, Stace.
500 calories doubles at 8:01 p.m.
Yeah. So not true. And again, you got to think about like what is the goal? For most people the goal is to like feel confident in their skin and comfortable in who they are as a person. And rarely, the point being, like most of the time when people reach their goal weight, it's not like, oh, now all their insecurities are just gone. Right. So I think oftentimes people just need to recognize like, what are you actually going after?
Sure.
And
Performance
being
or
honest
aesthetics,
with yourself. Like, yeah, okay, if I'm at a certain weight and I still, not that it's necessarily needs to be performance either, but it's like, I want to feel good, to be able to move well, to be able to show up for places in my life and perform in the way that I want to, be at my best at like all these different things. And that's not like sometimes that requires you to fuel when you get home a little bit later.
Yeah.
Even if it, some person on Instagram doesn't tell you that.
Right. And that's just, I mean, you can't work out hard for an hour and then not eat because it's 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's the most practical way to look at it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, again, if you take more of like your mindset to it, where it's like each of these is a meal, right? And maybe you just kind of split the meal then on either side of that window, where it's like I can have some before class, like a small meal before class, small meal after class, where it's just sort of like, okay, you might not sit down and want to have like a normal like quote unquote dinner for yourself, but you could definitely like split the calories between those two, and it might be work out for you.